Manchester versus White Heat when we were younger?
We might have, and I might have that film somewhere.
Do you remember what happened?
Know if you played.
Do you remember?
I don't know if you played.
Do you remember what happened in the game? Was you there at that game where it kicked off?
No, I wouldn't have been. Was that against Colchester?
I believe so. It was against Colchester. And then one of your players, like hit me or something like that. We was underneath. One of your players hit me. And before I could say anything, Grant came through with the 1-2 from nowhere. Like, it was just on site. That was funny. Who played in that game?
I remember Grant played in that game. Yeah, he's another one, man. He could go too, man.
Yo, he was going. You know what? He was like a mellow. Like, you look at him and you're like, he ain't quick.
Yeah.
But then he'll put the whaps, and then he would just go. And he was like, out of everyone on our team, when I finally went over to Hackney, he looked like the person who was least athletic. But then when we get into the warm-up line, he's pulling out windmills. And
he could do some things.
And that spin move that he would do in the block.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He was so hard to go on.
No,
so hard to go on.
It was a problem.
I remember him. I mean, you don't talk about him because they had Olu and Sullivan. But the other person people don't talk about is Wale.
Bro, some people just retired from the game too early, bro. I swear he retired like at age 18. I think when I went over, I think that's when he was done with ball. But I swear he retired at 18 and he was a problem, bro.
Yeah.
He was a
real problem. He was a real he just, like, he could do some things. Like I said, Sean Gray was very, very good. I do think Sean Gray was the best point guard in our class. Okay. I just think he was. There was Ian from Stoke. There was Lloyd down at Ware. Obviously, there was, me and Alex, I think. And I'm sure I'm missing some people. But Sean was the best. I don't understand how Wale was not the second best player, because Wale was one of the guys that with the ball in every situation and his ability to shoot it, he could do what he wanted on a basketball court with who he wanted. And it never made sense to me. Again, I'm a national team coach right now, so I understand the struggles, but he's a kid that it's quite surprising if you look at what those Joe White teams did and you look at how dominant they were, that people like Grant, people like Wale, people like Frank, I don't ever know if LeRon ever got a cap.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
LeRon's another guy, like, really? Yo,
I tell everyone when we were younger, him and Damien were on
Damien.
Yes,
he was with Leopards as well. This guy, man, look at the things he would do.
And you know what's actually funny? As an adult, you realize he wasn't actually that tall.
No.
But because of the way he used to jump and get up there, crazy. Yo, just crazy. And I've only seen Laurent play as when I was younger, and I just remember he had stupid hops.
Yeah. But he was another guy he was really skilled. He really could do some things with the ball at his size that other players with his mobility and his size couldn't do. And even to this day now, a lot of these players we're talking about, there's a lot of players now that don't have the broad skill sets like a Grant, like a Laurent, like a Frank. You know what I mean? Like, even if they have the skill sets, like Duncan was fantastic, Robert was fantastic, Meiju was fantastic, but were their skill sets as broad as some of those guys?
No.
So those kinds of things are quite interesting, that like Joe White produced a lot of people that had, like I said to you, what would your skill set have been like in that setting? Because that's what he did. That's not a knock on anybody else. That's not a knock on obviously what Jimmy did. You know, it's not a surprise that Jackson's running around running a program built on culture and winning championships built on culture. If that was the environment you were in, and they were some of the lessons you learned around that region, you know. So, you know, I think that like Joe built killers. He built people that, you know, and you look at them, you look at the 100 caps for Sullivan, you look at the career for Babalola, you know, you look at the people that have come from those Dengs and Gunner and Eugene Barr and, you know, like, so, you know, and again, and Humphrey as well, well-rounded people, you know, I mean, this class that we've got, you know, that picture you showed has a ton of people doing a ton of different things, you know.
And I will say this again, and maybe because we do play basketball, but I truly believe how difficult, I feel like, because basketball was such a niche type of thing in the UK back then, the people who took up basketball really had to find their own way and figure stuff out themselves. And it's no surprise that most of the people who play basketball are doing so many other different things that have nothing to do with basketball and are excelling in them as well, because it just, people don't even understand how difficult it is to pick something up where there's little to no information. You know, you're just going through your passion and you're figuring.